100 tons of drugs seized from international traffickers were set on fire to mark the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Drug Trafficking in Iran. This took place in the northeastern city of Mashhad and was live-streamed to an audience including high-ranking Iranian officials in the capital.
Iran has been very successful in its fight against illegal drugs. Our efforts have been acknowledged by the UN Office on Drugs and Crime.
A 936-kilometer border with Afghanistan, the world's greatest illicit opium producer, has turned Iran into a major transit route for drugs being smuggled to the Middle East, Africa, and eventually Europe, placing Iran practically on the front line of the fight against drug smuggling.
There are 243 million drug addicts in the world. 10 million smugglers are involved in this business with an annual turnover of $465 billion. Obviously, we cannot fight it alone.
Opium production in Afghanistan has been on the rise since the U.S. occupation started in 2001.
We have 2,340-kilometer border with Afghanistan and Pakistan, and we've spent $26 million only last year to block most of it. Now most traffickers have switched to using the sea route instead.
In its fight against trafficking, Iran is alone, according to its officials, in a very surprising way.
I told Mr. Fedotov, UNODC's executive director, that it doesn't make sense to impose sanctions on the equipment we need to fight drug trafficking. He made some promises to help us, but Europe is still not lifting those sanctions.
The facts are on the table, and Iran expects nothing less than a realistic, logical, and objective cooperation. Iranian officials are saying as a country in the front line of the fight against drug trafficking, it is completely irrational to have sanctions affecting this fight. And with the UNODC backing this, it remains to be seen whether or not the European Union will decide to lift these sanctions or not. Gisumi Shah Ahmadi, Press TV, Tehran.